It's on.
Fab. So yeah, Julio, if more people do join us, obviously it's different time zones around the world, then I'll just admit them. But say small is sometimes perfect to obviously speak to Paul, Mirka and Igor about FilmDoo and what you guys have been up to. And then even as yourself as a filmmaker and producer as well.
Yeah, no, I like this small. It's nice. It's a little bit more casual. Again, am I the only one not in the UK? Can I know a little bit where everybody's come from?
I'm in London.
Oh, perfect.
Kent. I think Igor's in Russia.
Yeah, Igor's in Moscow. Yeah.
Igor's in Moscow. And he's having trouble with his microphone, but he can hear everything you're saying.
And if you've got any questions, Igor, just put it in the chat, buddy, and Julio will see that as well, so we can discuss that way.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Can I share screen a little bit? I'll show you guys.
Yeah, let me just make you co-host. There you go. Yep. Right. Do your thing.
Okay. There we go. Okay. You with me?
Got it.
With you.
Got it. So, as Dan kindly said, I'm from FilmDoo, and I'm gonna talk to you, but I really don't want to make this a presentation, more of a conversation. And I mean, Dan has been nice enough to have us a few times, and I think what I love, regardless of the size of the room, is the discussion, you know. Because again, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my background of what we do with FilmDoo, but I would love to know what you guys do, and how is business going for you, and how have you seen the changes in it? Because I don't know, I think every time I go to this type of events, I become more of an optimist, because I feel like I've seen also very interesting creative stuff that have been happening for the past year, you know, which maybe is the case with you guys. I'm looking forward to hear it. So FilmDoo is a global streaming platform. We're a streaming service that started as a TVOD, so transactional video on demand. We were pay-per-view essentially from our start. We premiered on 2013. And now we're handling two brands. We have FilmDoo and FilmDoo Academy, which I'll tell you about in a little bit later. FilmDoo's premise, this is me completely paraphrasing, don't tell the CEO, but it's basically the anti-Netflix of what maybe Netflix modernized to be, which is we really try to champion independent cinema. We really try to give films and projects an exhibition window where perhaps they struggle to find one. And having said this, I think since its inception, we started with some categories and some films, genres that have now become really, in a very nice way, more mainstream. So we have a huge LGBT catalog. We have an entire collection of just female directors within our platform. And again, we're quite happy that this is no longer just us, and it has spread a lot into like the streaming or the mainstreamers catalogs. And within this, I'm sorry, but again, I don't want to make this a presentation, so I'm gonna try to cut to the conversation part. We realized that a lot of people that were going to our site were going to learn languages, because we have, again, a very extensive library of independent shorts and long and documentaries coming from all parts of the world. So, for example, Spanish was a very, very big reason why people were streaming our films. And we've been developed for the past couple of years this edtech tool that essentially enables teachers to create a video, create a course based on video content. And the idea behind it, or what we're developing towards, is that we're going to license that video content. So I love to, perhaps a little bit cheesy, say that it's a way of giving true life to the film, because we have these feature films, and I'll talk a little bit more specifically about shorts, which for me is very exciting, that now can be double purposely used in a way because it's being used by an educational institution to either teach language or teach film itself, which I think there is a great potential on that. We are doing pilots. I'll tell you about one of the funniest one I found, because we weren't expecting it. We're doing one with diversity champions in different UK companies, in banks, because video is a great way of showing these diversity and inclusion themes, you know what I mean? And there is a lot of films that now have social issues, I think are the ones that are making a bigger buzz, right? Like, I don't know if you guys would agree with me. So it's interesting because we have the technology to make this into a course, and this is great for educational institutions, but it's also been great for companies who wants to like discuss, workplace diversity. Oh God, sorry, I'm making this too much of a monologue. This is pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna show you just really quickly. Do you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You still see the PowerPoint, or I just want to show you our two sites?
No, I see the PowerPoint at the minute.
Okay, let me switch screens here for a second. There you go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this is FilmDoo. This is our main platform. You should be seeing it now. Again, we have titles. We have we have quite of an extensive library that we're very proud of. One very small thing, but I sort of pitched it to Dan as the big thing to talk about today, is that we've discovered, and I'm curious to see what you guys think, that there is sort of a rebirth, especially with this education venture, of short films. Like, I went to film school, I studied directing and screenwriting in film school, and I remember short films was what, and there's still to a large extent, is the project that you do while in film school to graduate or to experience the process of filmmaking. And again, in my film school, I think we were quite well oriented. You get taught about festivals, you're sort of on your own about it. Some film schools are a little bit more prestigious, or they have a longer film program. They help you promote and distribute their film, but that's pretty much it. And right now, within FilmDoo, within this platform, we have a catalog of short films, and we have a short film channel. And we've also licensed to Amazon and to BFI compilations of short films. We have done great. So that has already was a very interesting way of seeing how the short films can be further developed. And now with education, it's the best length to teach, in a way, because you have an hour class. You more likely than not cannot spend an hour and a half watching a feature. So short films are now at our huge quest for content. We're acquiring a lot, and we're negotiating them to different educational entities. And it's very exciting because, again, it's a new life for a film that maybe is 10 years old, and as a short film doesn't really have a window anymore. So yeah, again, check it out. This is our main platform, and this is FilmDoo Academy. I'll write it through the chat, and I'm gonna stop my monologue and ask you, what do you think? What do you think about where the business is going? What do you think about short films? If you have any questions for me, that's it, guys.
Fabulous.
Lovely.
Great. I would very much like to know how one would get a short film onto the platform, because I've got my films on Amazon Prime, and for a start, Amazon are no longer accepting short films.
No.
And secondly, they very irritatingly have now taken films off from Amazon Prime. So, for example, I've got a 15-minute film that's on there called The Widow.
Yeah.
And they're now forcing it to not be on Amazon Prime. So and they don't actually price for short films either. So if somebody wants to buy a film, they might pay $2 for it or $1. But for a 15-minute film, you don't necessarily want to charge people that. But
No.
you only get 50% of that anyway. And as an Amazon Prime customer, I didn't mind that, because people who already have Prime, they watch the film and it's a short film and they understand it. But some customers don't understand that they're short films on Amazon and they get upset. And so they want a longer film, and I can really understand that. So they're kind of falling between two stools. They're not helping the filmmaker and they're not helping the customer either at the moment. So I'm very keen on looking at where I could put my films, and so I think this is great. I'd love to know more, and I wouldn't mind you doing a sales pitch if you tell us a bit more about what would happen.
Thank you. I'll tell you just the three main things we do with short films, which I think they're important, and they're as much as we can take it. Because first, because we handle with non-exclusive contract, where we really allow you to still very much own the film. So we don't interfere with any festival circuit or any other exploitation that you want. That's and again, not a sales pitch, but that's something because I work for another production company as well as FilmDoo, so I kind of understand both sides of the business, and this is something that I find quite unique about how FilmDoo works and how we do things. So within our platform, we have a short film channel. As you say, most films that we have there, unless you directly request it, we don't necessarily monetize. You know what I mean? We used to have a free channel. We sub-license to other channels with Amazon. You're right, and it was a very big change of this year, I believe. And even we were shocked because we licensed quite a lot of content to them. And what we are still doing is these anthologies of short films, which is I particularly loved it. I started curating them last year, I think, and we did. For example, we had a huge success with 1 hour and a half compilations of LGBT animation films, and it went really well. And we had it in our platform to pay as pay-per-view, and we had it on Amazon for subscription, because by that time, as you said, Amazon did those deals, and it went really, really well. It had a very nice reception because, as you say, people sometimes struggle to pay for short content, but if it's a feature length, you know what I mean? And I particularly loved it because we've done it with, let's say we find a really nice distributor that has very interesting content and it sort of flows on the same theme. We do it with one, but the two I've curated have been from individual filmmakers, and they had a theme in common, or they were taking place in the same city. Again, with LGBT, it was a little bit easier because they had that genre, you know. So that's a great way of finding a new life for that short. And now edutainment. Education is great because when we are approaching educational institutions, it's not to watch the film, it's to use the film and create a course, an English. So if your film, let's say the language is in English, so an English language course, or a film theory class, or it really depends on the short and the theme, but you know what I mean? Like the sky is the limit in terms of education. So that's the third, and I think the most exciting window for us right now, because we had really nice reception with it.
To my knowledge, Julio, and obviously just to then sort of, I think, give Paul a bit more information, and I know Dave who's not on the call, deals with this side. Effectively, Paul, you can take your film and go onto the FilmDoo website and look to manually upload it yourself. Correct me if I'm wrong, Julio. Upload the film, and then I think Christina curates or looks at the short films. You'll put in, obviously, I think key art as well, but if not, you guys then assist with that. And one thing that you've not mentioned, which is huge given there's so many platforms, and I don't know if you know them off the top of your head, talk to us about the web stats that you guys have and your growth. I don't know if you've got that on one of the slides, because the figures you're hitting are very impressive with your users. So that's something which shows that you have captured a very active audience.
Yeah, Paul, I'll send you a link, and it then shares with me your email. I can send it to you directly, but I'll send you a link of this self-upload button. Is for your content. So it's as easy as in YouTube, but it's much better curated because it's not automatically processed. So
Sure.
as Dan explained, we're gonna view the content, we're gonna see where to put it and which, because when you deliver the film, you are also already signed the license contract. So you can see how you want to distribute it, in which territories. Would you like to be just for pay-per-view? Would you like to be for able to? We give you a range of choices, and it's very much up to you. As Dan said, we do have like marketing service. If you don't have a poster and you want us to create it, we take care of the marketing and we take care of the distribution. So you don't we really collaborate with the filmmaker into what we have, and what you don't have, we'll construct. And yeah, you'll hear from us. If the film is granted, we'll post it as soon as possible. And if you like, within those rules that you'll see on the website, you can sign up for edutainment. And edutainment, again, we'll take it to schools and we'll try to sell it for diverse subjects. But I want to say language is the key one at the moment. And in terms of stats, Dan, you're grabbing me at bad moment because I don't have them at hand. I know that we have around 250, between 250 and 500,000 active users for the FilmDoo platform, and that's growing. And right now we have pilots with over 35 to 40 educational institutions. And again, for example, the diversity and inclusion pilot training, I don't know if I'm able to say this, but keep it between us, is with Nat West, which is, I mean, for UK-based people, I'm guessing you know it. And yeah, we have a couple of more other pilots that we're doing with different business establishment to try out. For example, tomorrow we're doing a webinar on mental health, and we're doing with mental health specialists about how to deal with teen anxiety. And we're using this program of video content to create a course based on that. It's at 5 p.m. I'll send you the invitation here if you guys want to join. But that's my point with this, is that we're extending the potential of video content to as many subjects as we see it fit, because we really see it very wide in terms of possibilities.
Do you ask, do you ever go out to the filmmakers and say, we're looking actively for this type of content? If you're going to make something, could you make something in this area?
Do you mean in distribution or you in education?
Well, actually more for education, I was thinking.
No, it's a great question. So I've been asked, because we have a great relationship with distributors and filmmakers, and it's like, okay, so you're doing this education, what should I send you? You have perhaps the bad team member, because I'm so open with education because of all of what I've been saying. Like, we have LGBT content that you would say, okay, it's not very all public because perhaps it's a little bit too graphic. But then diversity and inclusion contacts us, and these are adults, you know, and it's for training programs, and these are films that are meeting and social issues, and we used it and it's been great reception, you know. So of course, if it's PG-13, if it's all public available, it gives us a bigger market when we're talking education. But I don't, and I know everybody in FilmDoo agrees with me, but we don't want to be encapsulated, because that's the whole freedom of this sector, is that it can be as many things as you have people that like cinema and the people that like video, you know. Like, we can mix it. We've used it with science and math, which I didn't really see the correlation, you know. So yeah, no, I don't have any specific. We always say, if it's children's content, we'll take it even faster, because that's something we can bring to anybody, you know. Animation is great, because I feel now it's at its top game, and you can find so many amazing things and things that don't have the exposure that they should, you know. So I'm a fan of animation, but that's just a personal taste, because the rest we take it film by film.
I was mentioning yesterday, and I know Mirka and Steve have seen this. Now, Paul, obviously, I don't know your other projects. I know you've got Computer Says No, which is a comedy, and it's always that flip side of make something that's commercially viable. And again, if it's commercially viable and it's also your passion, amazing, because then you're pairing two together. One thing on the FilmDoo platform, as Julio said, LGBT is huge across the world at the minute. And you might go, well, I've got a 20-minute film. You guys, I think you've curated, and I've seen a couple of them, 3 or 4 different films, like you said, same director that focuses on that genre, or a mix, but they tie in because they're set in European cities. That's in a way you can go, well, I'm going to make that in mind of that being my route to market. Mirka, then on the other hand, has got a short documentary based on her daughter who suffers from Down syndrome, which we want to change, don't we, Mirka? We want to call it Happy Syndrome, because she's happy. She wants to be seen as equal with everyone. That's trying to find a route to market to champion that subject matter, which then necessarily isn't commercial, but still has a relevant audience as well. So it's ultimately, yeah, as Paul's saying, do I sit there and one project's make a film, a horror film that I think is going to make me money, and then the next film do a documentary on a subject matter that means a lot to you? It's about making the right choices, and there's such a huge demand for content right now, and it's just obviously finding that opportunity to make something which, for very little, that can then go on to make a lot. I mean, that's everyone's dream, isn't it? And not to finance it yourself.
Yeah, and it's a crazy time, and I've seen projects, because I work for a production company, so I've seen projects that could benefit a little bit more of that pre-thinking that you say, Dan, of where is this going? You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the stage of script development. Like, it's not really clear, that window, and that makes things more complicated, in my opinion, on the production side, especially for features or for documentaries. But I don't think, I think there is something very liberating about this overload of choices that we have in the exhibition part, you know what I mean? And how we've managed as filmmakers to kind of cut off the middleman. And I say this working for a streamer, but still, it's much, you have many more, that's just a fact, more choices of where to put your film, or where can your film find an audience than you had 20 years ago. I believe there is an overload of content as well, and being relevant, I think, is the biggest challenge we're all facing when you have content, because there's so many, like, there's so much of it, and there's so many places where you can find it. So I see a challenge in that. If you're thinking of if you have a great idea, or you have a passion, or you have something that you absolutely have to make, I wouldn't worry too much about finding that home, just because of the current landscape. You know, it's so crazy, and it's changing so much that I don't know. I'm not, again, maybe I'm extremely optimistic, but I'm like, yeah, you'll find, you know, it's very, very relevant to go through that thought process. And I would recommend it, as some projects I see for the production company I work with, to do it from the script stage, you know, from when you're having those conversations. But there is definitely a home for everything. And short films in particular, they have a very good place, at least with us. We care a lot about them. So, yeah.
Did you have any questions, Mirka?
Well, I was just going to mention my film, but you've done it for me.
Oh.
Do it again.
You were talking about the linguistic aspect of it. My film has the introductory text and the final summary in English, Spanish, and Polish, which are my languages.
Amazing.
But I've lived in England for 50 years now. And these versions were offered to various places. However, nobody took them up, because the subject matter is not very, shall we say, socially popular. The film is about the life success of my Down syndrome daughter.
Wow.
She's 37, and, well, from nothing she achieved her paintings exhibition at Tate Modern in London.
Wow.
You can't go wrong, can you?
No.
Yeah.
Wait, it got turned down? By who?
It's not turned down. I've got 28 awards in international.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, it sounds like a very relevant film.
There is no further interest. I'm being awarded for my effort, or am I being awarded for being a great star. That's fine, but there's no continuation, if you see what I mean.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about joining you.
Absolutely, with pleasure.
You might be the platform that will, it's a very educational film. You see, I'm a speech and language therapist, so I took it from the communication side thing.
Is it a feature? Is it a feature length documentary?
It's a 25-minute.
Perfect, perfect. Let me make some. That's fantastic. Yes, it sounds amazing. I want to see it as just me. But yeah, please, I'll send you. Let me share it through the site before.
Yeah, pop your email in the chat, and then obviously if Paul and Mirka just want to take note, and then obviously email Julio directly and just find out more information post chat.
Absolutely.
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
It's only 5 of us, so rather than send you the self-upload, contact me directly and I'll send it through you through there, because that way I can follow up with the content whenever you upload it, and that way I can see your films before my colleagues does. So please do email me.
Will do, definitely.
I will.
No, can you repeat? Sorry, I lost your name.
So it's Mirka, Mirka.
Mirka.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to seeing your film. It's and congratulations to your daughter. I don't know how long ago was that, but
Thank
wow.
you very much. I'll pass it on.
Cool. That's great. That's exactly, yes. I agree. I stole your pitch, because those are the films that are excellent for education, because it's and especially documentary. Come on, it's fantastic. 25 minutes is fantastic.
Thank you.
Julio, tell us a little bit more, and I think this is relevant. You done a document on the impact of COVID on the film industry. Tell us a little bit how you see the landscape changing. Have you done any follow-up sort of research on that?
No, that's a great point. And I was literally thinking this morning to tell Berada that is overdue. It's a little bit of an update documented. It got great reception, because I mean, you remember when we shared it with you, Dan. But I feel it's funny because I had a meeting yesterday, and it was because of my production company. We were pitching a project that is going to be shot in Chile, and I didn't know, but Chile is doing quite well with vaccination, and it was great to know. And it was the production company that we're working on there. They said something like, people keep saying that 2021 is the same as 2020, but it's really not it in terms of the industry. You know what I mean? Because now you are in the process of, okay, I'm already used to this way of working. Things are moving faster, or like expectations are more controlled. You are not thinking, well, this will happen in a month's time. Like I feel there is an acceptance in the industry generally, and that's what is helping things move along, I would say. So yeah, but we have, and I'll share it with the group as well before we leave. I'm sorry, but I'm flying solo here, so I'm browsing through while I'm talking. But we have this ebook about the effects of COVID-19 across different areas in the industry, and everything from film financing to film schools, which I mean, those two are particularly important. The ones that I wrote, so those are the ones that they're
the best. They're the best ones.
I wasn't gonna say, but yeah. No, but the film school particularly for me was interesting because I mean, tightening it up a little bit with what we've talked about short films. It's film school. I don't know if you guys went or know a little bit how they operate, but it's a microfilm organism. So you do very much what we do now in the industry, but in a safe environment. At least that's what I would describe it. So they had the same issues that we had across the stop shootings, and they have to isolate it, and most films have international students, so they had to deal with that, and its resources are more scattered for them. And the problem when it's education is that time is being wasted. So it's a year of virtual film school. It can, in my opinion, it won't be the same experience as if you had a year of hands-on training, So that's a little bit what the article covers. Again, it's a whole ebook on diverse subjects. And yeah, I'll take your note, Dan, because I'll invite everybody to read if you want to be anthropological. But to be honest, we did it on 2020, so the landscape has somewhat changed. But it's a good point to update all of it, because it would be interesting to research.
Because in certain places, obviously, whether they are or aren't filming, and then I think of comment which I make almost on every Zoom call is the COVID compliance officers and how they're needed on set, and the opportunities if you love the industry but haven't got an idea or a project to go with, but want to get on a set, get that qualification. I know a few people, Joe Camerano, who's one of our filmmakers actors, he said to me, Dan, I'm making it as a massive side hustle. He went and done the course, and now he's out in, where is he based, Steve? Is he out in Hollywood?
Yeah, he's LA, I know.
LA based, but yeah, he's doing very well. From someone's like, I need a CCO, and he's like, yep, hire me up. And yeah, sort of a lucrative opportunity. So they are filming, but with certain parameters, obviously the necessary health and safety in place.
No, it's particular because he has, I'm going back to the Chile example, but he has, I feel, now changed the landscape because it's so politicized and we're all under different rules that sort of look the same but are not exactly. So there is countries where it's easier to shoot or to produce. At the moment, we have a co-production of a short film that wanted to shoot in Jordan and is having the worst time of shooting in Jordan. And now we are shooting in Egypt because it's apparently very easy, and they even with their COVID compliance, they're handling quite well. You know, Israel is very attractive right now for these type of things. In Latin America, maybe it's not about handling well or not, but there's countries and locations that are more permissive, you know what I mean? Like, so you have less restrictions, and there are some people that are considering that. So it's fascinating. I think at this point, because we're not as we were last year, where 99% of the world was locked down. We're all at different stages right now, you know? So especially for shooting, I think it's interesting. I don't know I think it's the same as tourism, right? Like it's a little bit, it works the same. I see a lot of people, I don't know, traveling to Mexico because that's, I don't know, it's a little bit simple to go at the moment, and I don't know, you can be, I don't know if it's safer, but it's more possible in a way that, let's say Europe. I'm gonna send you the blog that Dan was mentioning on the chat, guys.
Cool. Just want to say hello to our contingent of Kev, Karis, and Alan as well.
Hi guys.
Hi guys. Obviously, Julio, you know these guys, or is it Dave that's predominantly been dealing with some of their content?
I think, yeah, I think I've seen you in the previous panel, so we've seen each other.
So sorry we're late. We had internet problems our end, and we're frantically trying to get things right. But yeah, we currently got XL Heroes up on FilmDoo at the moment, which we're very pleased that you actually accepted that. So you know, it's fantastic for us. And again, you know, it's great that Fusion actually fused us together in all sense.
See what you did there.
You wait till the quiz now. You're on phone tonight, I tell you.
I've decided I want to split you three up tonight. And that's what I'm thinking. See who the strongest is. We all know it's Karis.
I'm up for that. I don't mind being split up. Yeah.
So is there any sort of additional thoughts or questions from your side, Paul, with things? So you've got, so how many projects have you been involved in?
I've got about six films that I've basically just made on my own of different like one's a children's short film, it's like 5 minutes, short comedy, and then I've got a thriller that was my first film, and then one's a dystopian future type film, which is another 15-minute film. But I've always thought that once you've made a few shorts, you've got to go on to make your feature film, and that's kind of what I've been moving towards, and I'm hoping will be the next project. But given the kind of situation with the industry at the moment, it's making shorts is still a great a great way to move forward and be creative. But it's great to hear from FilmDoo, because it's you know, once you've made the short, all your shorts, it's actually finding a place to put it.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix say they take shorts. I've never seen any shorts on there. And as we said before, Amazon I don't think they're really servicing the customer or the filmmaker very well either. So
No, not anymore.
so this is fantastic. It's come just at the right time. So, you know, I'd be really keen to you know, put some content up there. So thank you. This has been brilliant.
Good stuff. That's the thing. As you say, it's as well. It's a back catalogue as well, isn't it? Of content, and you just think, oh well, I've made that, and that's often the thing. Now what? And as a group of festivals, we always, and even from my side in the introduction, when I first was connected with the guys at FilmDoo, I was like, great, this is what we want. Someone that's championing independent film, knowledgeable, not just sitting, like we say, as a sales agent. Julio's at the front line. He's involved with curating as well as then making films. And I think that's massively important, to not have a narrow-minded view towards it. Everyone, the demand for content is huge. And it does baffle me that people will spend hours and watching like brainless little TikToks, and oh, there's a dog on a skateboard. There's a dog on a skateboard. There's this person doing this dance and all that. And I'm like, educate yourself, have a laugh, watch something from Computer Says No to The Sky's the Limit to Educational Exiled Heroes that the Kev and the gang have worked on. And it's crazy that people are like searching for the wrong stuff, in my opinion. They need to broaden their horizons.
I think what we found as well, Dan, over the last couple of months, or maybe over the last year, I think Amazon to change the goalposts quite often. We got 3 programs on Amazon at the moment. They've been on there for about maybe 2 years, and you've been watched up to, I think it was something like 12,000 hours altogether, and we got paid around about £65.
Wow.
No way.
You know, it's the return on Amazon is not great, I don't think. But it's just good that we get our content out there.
Right. So you have like 10 million views or something, Kev. Is that right?
Yeah. It's really low income from Amazon.
They kept changing the model. So they had like a pay per minute, and then it was engagement versus similar content or something. So they kept changing it. So obviously they were paying you less and less. And it's a bit sneaky, and I didn't like it. So I was looking to move anyway. And this is as I say, this has come at a perfect time.
Yeah. Wait, I have to say, because we still license content with them, it's definitely not the right place anymore, at least in our experience, for short content. That's for certain. For feature, as I said, with short, when we compile it into an anthology, it's still somewhat productive, and it's an interesting entry point for us to the SVOD, so subscription, because as we all experience it, is the big thing right now in streaming is subscription more than pay-per-view. So but definitely it's not working as it was used to. We had the same disappointment that you, Paul, this year, because it's, I don't know. And I agree, it's not very transparent either.
Yeah, they're not global either. So it's Germany, Japan, US, and UK, which is like, I mean, there's so many territories. It's like, wow.
No, that's true. I completely agree.
Brilliant.
But I send you all, so you have the self-upload is the last link I shared. So as Dan explained, that's when you upload something, the head of content revise it and we'll get back to you. But please do send it my way, because it's a little bit the same process. I can send you the documents, and that way I get to see it myself. So you have my email on the chat if you guys are interested. I'm very interested to watch whatever you sent.
Fantastic. Although obviously brief, has anyone got any additional questions, or should we look to wrap things there? Let's see if anyone wants to ask any follow-ups to Julio. No, dinner time.
Well, it's a little bit later for me, so it's 8.
Hey, Julio, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And hopefully
Thank you.
those that have joined us have got a little bit of value out of it. And hopefully some, I know there's been a number of our filmmakers, what to do about climate change, exiled heroes, multiple projects have hit your platforms, and we're really excited about that, and hopefully many more to come.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Bye.
We'll see you in the quiz in an hour and a half, Julio.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
But it was
everybody.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Eve. Take care.
Christmas Day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.